Hello, my good human. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Luana Rose, trauma specialist from luanarose.com and the founder of the Good Human University. Today, we're spilling the tea on the difference between big T trauma and little t trauma. And the T stands for trauma, not tea as in sipping on the tea. So let's get into it. This video is going to be short and right to the point. First of all, the difference between big T trauma and little t trauma. Most folks think of trauma as being one big T. For example, going to war, a horrific car accident, living in a place where bombing is happening, sexual abuse. These kinds of things are considered big T trauma, or in the work that I do from the somatic experiencing, somatic practice world, we call it shock trauma. An event that is like a movie, it's one single event that is overwhelming for the person's capacity to deal with stress, and it renders the person to helplessness, to feel less than a human, and can really have a long-lasting impact and effect on the individual's life. On the other hand, little t trauma, in my experience, is more common and can be just as demoralizing and devastating to a person, because most of the time little t trauma happens cumulatively over a period of time and is most often disregarded by the individual, the society. So the most common little t trauma is in fact having unavailable caregivers in childhood. Unavailable emotionally, unavailable physically, such as a lock and key kid. If you are from North America, a lock and key kid basically means the child, most likely around 6 to onward, had a key around their neck and parents weren't home when they got home, so they opened up the house, made dinner for themselves, and basically experienced extreme neglect or somewhere on the spectrum of neglect. Little t trauma, emotional neglect, emotional abuse, physical abuse such as spanking or hitting, which is normalized in many cultures still to this day in 2022. Little t trauma can also be divorce, it can be worrying about money, it can be having someone in the family with an undiagnosed health issue, including a narcissistic mother or father. Alcoholism in the family is little t trauma. In the work I do, we call it developmental trauma. Developmental being it happened between conception and 18 years old. Some folks even consider generational. So as studies show, generational trauma, we can experience the physical effects and hardships at a somatic level from up to 3 generations back. Developmental trauma is generational trauma, conception to 18 years old. It affects how the person develops as a human being. So if we look at emotional abuse, neglect, getting bullied, having a parent with an undiagnosed mental health issue, narcissistic, alcoholism, these are all little fractures that chip away at a person's morale, their beliefs about themselves over time, and is devastating and can create, as we know from the ACE studies, a shorter lifespan and chronic, debilitating mental and physical health issues. So don't underestimate little t trauma. If you have experienced little t trauma and big T trauma, most folks have experienced a broken bone, a significant loss in their family unit, have witnessed violence, have maybe had ancestors, generational trauma ancestors that went through a famine, or that went through living in a place that was bombed or in an unsafe environment for an extended period of time. Most folks have experienced some version of sexual harassment or sexual abuse. These are all combinations that I see in my practice and my programs every single day. So the combination of little t and big T trauma is trauma, and there's no worse than or discarding your experience, because if it affects an individual, it affects an individual. There's no discounting little t trauma versus big T trauma in my world. So I hope you took something away from this video, maybe gain more clarity on what big T and little t trauma looks like. And of course, if you like to delve deeper or would like support in healing from all kinds of T's of trauma, please don't hesitate to reach out, leave a comment, or go to my website, luanarose.com, and you can join in the programs there or work one-on-one with me. I will see you in the next video.